how much do you charge? Hey, how much do you charge to detail cars? How much do you charge to detail my car? Welcome, beginner. And when I say beginner, I mean beginner to the world of auto detailing business. Maybe you're thinking about it, maybe you've recently started it, but you're a beginner. Today's tutorial is about setting your prices, which will prove forever challenging when it comes to operating your detailing business. How much are you gonna charge? Because pretty much every person that you receive a phone call from is going to lead with that. Hey, how much do you charge to detail cars? Which is one way to look at it. How much will you charge? But how do you know how much you're gonna charge? Because it's gonna be based largely on how much work. And by how much work, what I really mean is how much time. Yes, you accept it's gonna be work, but how much will you be working in time? So this is the question. How much time in the form of work will be required by you as the detailer to take a vehicle in its current condition and detail it to meet the expectations of your customer? That's what I mean by how much work. Well, there's a lot of variables that go into setting your prices. I've reduced it, and yes, you can get on my waiting list, check the link below, detailvault.com, where I will release my Smart Startup, a smarter way to start your own detailing business. I've reduced it down to 6 factors when it comes to figuring out your detail pricing. Prepare to have your brain melt. Size of the vehicle, type of service, condition of the vehicle, interior accessories and features, exterior embellishments and enhancements, cleaning problems and or challenges. Now, I'm not going to dissect all of those for you on this video. I just want to melt your brain first and let you know that as you're struggling to figure out your prices, there's a reason you're struggling to figure out your prices. You know why? Because detailing as a business is not detailing as a hobby. Money changes everything. Now, as a business, that suggests that you want to make a profit. Now, if you were to go into the real estate investment niche, there's a saying, but you don't make your money when you sell a piece of property. You make your money when you buy the piece of property. Now, if we apply that logic to the world of mobile detailing, it would go like this. You don't make your money when you get paid for the job that you just did. You make your money when you quote the job, which to come full circle, money. That's where you make your money, is by properly, more precisely, accurately quoting the job based on how much time and effort. But let's go from the macro a little bit more into the micro. Time is the biggest component of your prices, and it comes in 2 ways. How much time to physically detail the car, and how much travel time will there be to drive to the customer and drive back home to your place. Now, time is the one commodity that can't ever be recovered, can't be replaced, and can't ever be purchased back. Time is finite. You don't ever get it back. So if you're giving your time away, well, guess what? You're not being as profitable as you could be. Yeah, Darren, I get it. I'm already struggling to figure out my prices. Well, guess what? Because I have cracked the code, the pricing formula code, which is how do I figure out my prices? And more precisely, how do I figure out my prices so that I can accurately give a price quote to someone who's interested in my detailing services? And even more importantly is, how do I accurately give a price so that I have profit margin built in there? Because guess what? Making money is not the same as being profitable. You might think it is. As a beginner, you might be happy just to get some money in your pocket, even though it took you 6 hours to detail a car that you thought would take 3 hours, and you misquoted for 3 hours worth of work, which ended up taking 6 hours worth of work, but you drove away as a happy camper because you made some money, and you did it. You started your business, but damn, you realize this pricing thing is really difficult. How am I going to go about this? Darren just mapped out 6 things that I need to factor into my pricing, and now my brain's beginning to melt. I've already got a little bit of experience, and my brain was already semi-gelatinous to begin with, and now it's just melted completely. Thank you, Darren. Let's go from the macro down to the micro. Timing is your biggest cost. Why is timing your biggest cost? Well, because timing as a mobile detailing operation will be split into two: working time and travel time. You cannot give your travel time away. Yes, you can build it into the pricing, but that kind of comes full circle as how do you do that? Let me dissect time as in how much work to produce the results to meet the demands or the expectations of your customer. I'm going to dissect this into 6 components. Already I dissected your pricing into 5, but when it comes to time, 2 factors: travel time, working time. So working time alone can be dissected into 6 categories. Yes, it will overwhelm you. The good news is you don't have to factor all these in because I've figured out a formula for you, but you need to know what they are. Size of the vehicle, type of the service, for example, full detail versus exterior or interior only, condition of the vehicle, how much dirt is there? Interior accessories, for example, let's say it's a minivan. Are you going to be removing the seating in order to detail the car? Exterior embellishments, cleaning problems and challenges. Are there big liquid spills you have to contend with? Are there colored stains you have to contend with? Is there dog hair? Do they have children? There's a lot of components in that. I don't want to overwhelm you. I don't want to discourage you from getting started because in my opinion, the most important goal as a beginner that I could tell you, the single most important goal would be to just start. Because the good news with a mobile detailing business is that everything remains fluid. Literally nothing is set in stone. So what you do today doesn't necessarily have to be what you do tomorrow. The prices you set today don't have to be the prices you charge tomorrow. I guess the bad news is that you got to start somewhere. I know you know that. So let me tell you what I did over 30 years ago. Because I started back in 1988. Yes, I'm that old. Do the math. This is 2024. Back when I started, there was no resources, no training, no internet, which meant no University of YouTube, no social media, nothing. I had no mentor, I had no teacher, I had no real example to follow. I saw other guys out there doing it, but that was the extent of my knowledge or experience. So I thought, how am I gonna figure out prices for myself? What am I gonna charge a person? So I went through a mental process and thinking, okay, what is my number? Let me explain what I mean by that. At the time I was starting my own detailing business, I was making $7 an hour as a customer service rep at my current job that I hated. It was a go nowhere situation. I was miserable. I hated the management. They were so dysfunctional. The whole system was inefficient. I couldn't stand it anymore. And I was making $7 an hour to endure this slavery. So I thought, okay, I'm pretty fearful about starting my own detailing business. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to take on some risk, but what's my number that's going to incentivize me to actually do it? Well, how do I do it? I know every vehicle is going to be different. The size, condition, the dirt level. Every customer is going to be different. Their expectations. I'm going to be traveling to different locations. It's like, oh my gosh, my brain is fried. I don't know where to start. Okay, the best I could do, which I think was pretty good considering, what is my number? What do I need to make per hour to incentivize me to get off my butt and to make a change that I accept will be very difficult to make? I arrived at the number of 15. I thought if I can make $15 an hour, that would be my number. That became my goal. Okay, I didn't have enough experience to know how long detailing would actually take, but I had to approximate it. Okay, I've got a person on the phone. They've got a white Honda Civic. Not a particularly big car. It's 4 doors. It's 3 years old. It's got 36,000 miles on it. They've got no kids. They've got no pets. Okay, I think I can detail that in 3 hours. That was back in 1988. I had no idea. But I just thought, okay, 15 times 3, do the math, $45. Yep, you guessed it, but I didn't charge $45. I charged $40. No, it wasn't a Honda, but it was a Toyota. I think it was a Corolla is what they called them back then. 4-door white Corolla. A girl drove it. She's the only owner of it. I knew it wasn't going to be horrid. And I thought, I don't know, if I could do it in 2 to 3 hours, I can make a few dollars. And I ended up spending about 2.5 hours on that car. Now, did I factor in my travel time? No, I did not. Did she live very far away? No, she did not. That was the good news. Saved my ass. But I was willing to try, and that was my starting point, was coming up with my number. What is my number that would incentivize me to get started on a business that I felt had some potential? And I did it. I spent about 2.5 hours on her car. I charged her $40 back in 1988. I rolled away with money in my pocket, and I felt a sense of freedom that I had not experienced before. And I thought, oh my gosh, if I did it once, I'm willing to bet I can do it twice, and then a third, a fourth, and a fifth time. And fast forward the clock to today, and here I am, and yes, you can do it.
But you gotta start somewhere.
So I say just start. Now, if you like the idea of having a formula that you can walk through, plug in a few numbers that, yes, you will have to come up with, but I'm going to help you do that. And then suddenly, once you arrive at that number, now everything is mapped out for you. It's like, okay, do this first, do this second, get this information third, plug it in here, and bam, there's my number. And I am good to go. I hope in delivering you some perhaps discouraging news that I've also delivered you some good news. Check the link below. If you're interested in starting your own detailing business, you can get on the wait list for when I release my Smart Startup, a smarter way to start, at detailvault.com. And until then, I will see you in the next video.